Hey, I'm Look YouTube, and welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. Yes, the season has absolutely flown by, hasn't it? And tonight is the day where the first playoff quarterfinals in the National League is happening in a matter of about an hour and 20 minutes from now. They're being kicked off. So I decided to go ahead, and as I know you will love me doing, predicting the tier 5 and tier 6 promotion race for that second elusive promotion spot in each one. We will get to the Gateshead scenario at the relevant time, but the first the only quarterfinal, as the Gateshead situation is determined in the National League, is between Solihull Moors and FC Halifax Town. I'm going to go during normal time for it to end in 1 apiece. And then it's going to go to extra time, and Solihull Moors will win 3-1 in extra time. These two teams for me are evenly matched. The away team comes into the game on the back of a win in their last game, having beaten Eastleigh 3-0 away, with goals from Max Wright, Adam George, and Jamie John Cook. Whereas the Moors also won their last match by a slender 1-0 against York City, with a solitary goal coming from Jack Stevens. In the last 10 years, Solihull Moors and FC Halifax have an even record in the head-to-head of the last 15 matches, with 4 wins going to Solihull, 5 wins going to FC Halifax, and they drew a total of 6 times. So they just don't seem to really want to triumph one over the other. On average, Solihull scored 0.8 goals and the Shaman 0.9. Last time, Solihull won 3-1 away when this fixture was played. And with 58 goals in 46 games, SC Halifax are scoring well below the league average with 1.3 goals per game. But they do concede fewer than average too, letting in only 50 goals at a rate of 1.1 per game. Solihull Moors, meanwhile, are average scorers with 1.5 goals scored per game, and they have conceded 1.3 goals per game. And Solihull Moors are in a mixed form in the National League right now, with 3 wins and a draw in their last 6 games, with 2 wins and 3 draws coming in that period, with the Shaman's form being slightly worse, but only by a point. With Moors also keeping one eye on the FA Trophy final coming up as well, it will be a cagey affair at Damson Park, in my opinion. I see it level pegging at 1 apiece at full time, with Solihull edging extra time 3-1 due to home support. Right, I'm just going to quickly address the Gateshead situation. I personally think it is an absolute disgrace that they have been barred from participating in promotion, which is an integral part of football. We don't want to see any teams not getting promoted and become Americanized. I understand the EFL's reasoning of you need to have a 10-year lease to be able to spend at the stadium to ensure that you don't end up without a home like AFC Wimbledon did for years. And several other clubs have had to move grounds and stuff because they couldn't maintain where they were currently staying. So I get that from the EFL's viewpoint. I also get the National League's viewpoint of disappointment for Gateshead that they weren't allowed to be promoted. I ultimately feel for the Gateshead fans the most in this situation because they've obviously supported the team really well throughout the season to get them to this point. With a chance of getting to League Two in the first time in like 60 odd years. And it's been taken away because Gateshead Borough Council have not allowed them to have a lease. Now, I'm not exclusively blaming Borough Council because I have seen news which has since emerged that it's a third party which actually runs the operating of the stadium, and if that third party changed hands, then a new deal would need to be arranged with a new third party. However, for me, as long as Gateshead are guaranteed to play in that stadium for the next 3 or 4 seasons, I don't see why that should be an issue, because no offense to Gateshead fans, but I don't realistically see them staying in the EFL much longer than that. And if that obstacle arises, then you've got to deal with it when that time comes. But right now, Gateshead have had a stunning season, and they deserve to be in the playoffs. And I also think it was a fair decision not to enable Solihull Moors to have that bye and enable it to be Altrincham, although I would have preferred to see Aldershot in the playoffs instead, as I think it has been done previously, when people, because of ground regulations, have not been allowed to be promoted. That's just my personal opinion. But yes, and that. So sorry to all Gateshead fans. I'll see you next season without a shadow of a doubt. You've got some really good fans as well. But back to the predictions. With the first semi-final I've got lined up is Barnet versus Solihull Moors. Barnet haven't lost a game since mid-March. However, they have had plenty of draws in between. They do, however, typically come undone against stronger sides in the division, I've noticed, and Moors come in with that momentum of winning against Halifax if they do so. However, the Bees do typically keep a close shop at the back, which means the Moors will struggle to get through. I reckon a 1-1 draw in normal time, and that will double into a 2-2 draw in extra time, leading to a penalty shootout. This is always a lottery, but I will edge out Barnet due to them playing at the Hive, with the home side sucking in the ball. I mean, it's a beautifully new stadium as well, perfect for Football League if they do get there. The other semi-finals is currently in line, and I doubt that will change, is Bromley versus Altrincham. A much higher intensity game than the other semi-final, I predict. They will both be up for it, with Bromley having slightly worse form, but have been much superior throughout the season. But do have the second best defence in the league as well, having only conceded 49 goals. However, with Altrincham having scored 11 goals over the season, more than Bromley, it could definitely provide for pressure on their defence to the point that Bromley will get a red card and concede a penalty, followed by a second goal conceded after trying to work it upfield. However, Bromley will score 2 goals in the last 20 minutes due to a powerful half-time talk and the fans carrying them. This would lead to a penalty shootout because the extra time would be both teams are trying not to score, and Alti will get a player sent off due to having a scrap due to time wasting or something like that. Well, the penalty shootout will be won by Bromley because they have the second best keeper in the league at keeping clean sheets, of Grant Smith having kept 13 clean sheets at a save percentage of 31.7%. And so therefore my final will be Barnet versus Bromley, a bit of a London derby. These two teams have been head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the playoff teams as well from the entire season. And both will bring a ton of fans due to them both being London-based. It is really a bit of an attack the defence situation, with Barnet having the second best goals in the league behind Chesterfield, whereas Bromley have the second best goals against in the league behind Southend. So I feel it will be cagey because it's at Wembley as well. This game will also go to penalties after ending 1-1 after ordinary time and extra time, with Bromley winning, having the better defence, which always seems to win in the shootouts 9 times out of 10, because if the goalkeeper is superior, that tends to be a bit better. Therefore, Bromley will reach for Football League for the first time in their history, in my opinion. On to the National League North. The quarterfinals, number 1 is Alfreton versus Boston United. As you can see, I am wearing red today because I am supporting Alfreton Town, or the Reds, in this fixture, because you've got to support Derbyshire lads, of course. Alfreton haven't lost at home, actually, since the 25th of November, 2023. So I think they will win 4-0 against Boston United. And Alfreton have got 11 more points than this time last season as well. So they have improved. Both teams, though, are both playoff veterans, let's be honest. Alfreton have accumulated 16 points in their last 6 games, conceding just 1 goal in that run-in, which is a mental run-in. The Pilgrims do arrive into this fixture after a good run-in themselves, with Ian Culverhouse's men finishing the regular season with 3 shutouts, taking their season-long tally to 22. George Willis, therefore, is a key player in today's fixture, and it could be a close one. Jordan Fulis will be looking to get one over on his former club as well, and is equal top 4th goal scorer in the National League North on 17 goals, alongside, actually, Boston marksman Jimmy Knowles. Kelsey Mooney hit 16 also for United this season. And they have the dangerous Jacob Hazel, who I just remember seeing at South Shields versus Boston and was an absolute menace throughout that game. Ultimately, I'm backing the Reds more out of maybe delusion than reality. But with Alfreton being slightly better in the goals for tally, they're likely to be on the front foot from the get-go, and will probably catch the Pilgrims off guard and win the game in an emphatic fashion. I also actually have a friend who is a Boston fan who is going to the game today, who has reliably told me that Boston always come undone against the Route 1 style of play that Alfreton have employed so effectively this season. So he's dreading it, and I reckon the boys in red will be winning it. But yeah, on to the second quarter-final. I've got Chorley beating Curzon Ashton 4-0. In the head-to-head, Chorley are clear favourites, having won 9, drawn 3 and lost 5 against Curzon. Chorley also score a fair few goals with an average of 1.7 per game. That's 81 goals this season, which is second highest in the league. Curzon aren't shy to a goal themselves, having scored 1.3 goals per game, but that is much lower at 62 goals. They also have an equal defence, with 1 goal separating goals conceded over the season. In the last 2 games, Chorley have scored 6 goals and only conceded once, though. So coming in off an extremely good set of results. And it's clear to me that the Magpies are much superior and will play Curzon Ashton off the pitch, cruising it to a 4-0 result. So therefore, the semi-finals I've got predicted is Scunthorpe United versus Alfreton Town as the first one. I'm not expecting the most entertaining game, with Alfreton most likely to play defensive with long ball forward, and considering both sides have pretty resilient defence, I do think this one will be a bit of a bore. However, Scunthorpe have scored 84 goals this season, which is the best in the league, so they will somehow find a way past this resolute defence to win the game by a solitary goal to 0, in probably the least prettiest playoff match in a while. The other semi-finals is Brackley Town versus Chorley. 2 very good sides heading against each other, and is certainly a fixture to keep your eye upon if this happens. Brackley are notorious for having a squeaky clean defence, having only conceded 37 goals this season, which amazingly is actually second in the league. But even the wicked attacking output that Chorley has would struggle against this resolute Brackley. Also, Brackley almost always win by 1 or 2-0. So I don't see in this particular fixture why it should be any different. So I'm going with Brackley Town 1, Chorley 0. So that makes the final the Scunthorpe United versus Brackley Town. 2 of the most evenly matched teams, arguably, in the National League North. This would actually be the 5th time they've played each other across this season as well, having met and replayed each other in the FA Cup this season as well. Although Brackley are well drilled at the back, Scunthorpe are the highest scorers this season, and surely would find a way past, especially considering they are at home in an almost 10k capacity stadium. Danny Whitehall has had an incredible season, having scored the second amount of goals, highest amount of goals in the National League North this season, and I believe he'll score the winner to begin the slow rise back for Scunthorpe United, winning by a slender goal to 0. The National League South, which in my opinion has actually been, for the first time in absolutely years, the strongest of the 2 leagues at this level, because the playoffs have been more interesting, and also, realistically, I know the title went to Tamworth in the National League North, but no one was expecting that, and everyone was expecting the Yeovil one. But the playoffs have been much more interesting in the National League South. In the quarterfinals, the first one, I've got Braintree Town versus Bath City. Both of these teams lost their last game of the season, with Bath losing 2-0 to Aveley and Braintree losing 3-2 to Eastbourne Borough at home. Once again, the Iron have surprised the National League South, with Angelo Harrop leading his side to a second consecutive playoff finish. Before last Saturday, they only lost once in the last 20, and that wasn't even against that was even only against the champions Yeovil. They've only lost 6 times in the last 52 home games in the Harrop's second season in charge. Braintree have had a sucker blow to their attacking threat, though, with Colehurst or something like that being recalled from his loan spell by his parent club, Ebbsfleet United, who has scored 11 goals. They still have Freddie Sears, legend obviously coming through West Ham's academy and playing in the Premier League and scoring goals for fun, to rely on. though and he did actually score in the Saturday's loss. It was the first time the side have lost from a winning position at home since 2021, though, so that also will tell you a lot. At the other end, Braintree have the best league defence as well, conceding only 42 goals. Both these sides have experienced in the playoffs, with Braintree finishing in them 4 times since 2007, gaining promotion once via them in the 2017-18 season, and last time they were in the playoffs, it was in the National League. City actually won the 2010 playoffs, and they have also reached them in 2019 and 2020. This time, there's an air of confidence because Bath have a close-knit squad amongst the Roman fans, making fewer changes of 66 substitutions throughout this season. That's 5 short of Braintree, who used 46 players in all competitions this season, compared to 31 players being used for Romans. It'll be a close run-of-the-mill thing with Braintree's lock of firepower now, but the resolute defence they have, and Bath come in with an inferior goal difference as well. But I reckon it will be finished legging 1-1 after normal time, and I reckon Braintree will win it 2-1 during extra time. In the second affair, we got Maidstone United versus Aveley. In their last league game, Maidstone won 5-1 at home to Hampton Richmond Borough, whereas Aveley won their last game 2-0 at home to Bath City, as I just referred to in the other fixture. With 72 goals in 46 matches this season, Stones are scoring more than the league average with 1.6 goals per game, and they're conceding fewer than average, letting in 52 goals at a rate of 1.1 per game. The away team are also above average in both metrics, scoring 1.5 goals per game and conceding 1.3 goals per game, and the hosts are in good form in the National League South, with 4 wins and a draw from their last 6 games. But there is also identical form with Aveley, with both of them taking 13 points from potential 18. But Aveley have Maidstone's number, beating them both home and away this season, and Aveley will be coming into it with this fixture with an underdog mindset to snatch the tie. And I think they can do it because often in the playoffs, the team that sneaks into the playoffs is also the most likely to win the game. So I'm backing Aveley to win by a solitary goal to 0. So my first semi-final is Chelmsford City versus Braintree Town. I've got predicted a tasty Essex derby here for the semi-finals, you've got to admit. But it is clear to me that the Clarets are a much better side, having been unbeaten in the league head-to-head, because the Essex Senior Cup, realistically, bit of a joke competition. People play reserves, and realistically, you only really go for it if you think you're not going to get promoted. So in the last 12 league games, that is, the Clarets have been much better and unbeaten. Braintree also only have 36 points picked up away from home, losing 7 times. They also haven't kept a clean sheet in their last 11 ties against Chelmsford. Aaron Blair, I reckon, would be a player to look out for at this, as the young 24-year-old has scored 15 goals in the National League South this season. The game will be aggressive, as you'd expect for a derby, and I expect at least 1 red card. But for me, Chelmsford are favourites to win it by 3 goals to 0. In the other semi-finals, I've got Worthing versus Aveley. Worthing must be the most chaotic team this season, having scored 104 goals but conceded 72. Ultimately, when it comes to the playoff, it's all about trying to keep the ball out of the net. And in a hope that even if it went to penalties, you could win it, that has got to be what the priority is. But with a defensive record of conceding 72, that seems unlikely that Worthing could win. However, Aveley aren't known for their free-scoring side either, and so the match may well be closer than imagined. Aveley also have experience of promotion from last season, with them winning the playoffs in the Isthmian League, if we remember. And that experience will be vital in this fixture, as they know how to play under the immense expectations. Even though both times they came into the games, they came in as underdogs. Let's not forget that it was only in 2021-22, which is a matter of 2 seasons ago, that they were in step 4. This plucky team spirit will surely be enough to carry them across the line in the final, as Worthing will be coming to the fixture expecting the game to be easy. I'm expecting Aveley to win 2-1. So the final I've got predicted is Chelmsford City versus Aveley. Although I've been backing Aveley thus far, I cannot see them winning the final against a side that have been the second best in the league and are both resolute at the back, having conceded only 43 goals and scored 76 times this season. I do think the game will be intensely physical as Aveley try to scrap a needle for every single ball. It won't be the prettiest, but Chelmsford will get the job done due to picking up 38 points at home this season. Not quite a fortress, but certainly a hard place to go. I think this game will ultimately be determined by the grit of the defence of Chelmsford and their clinical ability in front of goal, so I back them to win 2-0. So there you have it. They're my predictions. I've got promoted Bromley, I've got promoted Chelmsford City, and I have got promoted Scunthorpe United. Obviously, let me know your predictions in the comments down below. Corey Trout, Scunthorpe, yeah, I'm predicting as well as you that Scunthorpe are indeed going to be going up. It'd be great to see them coming back through the leagues and hopefully see them in the EFL sometime in the near future. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. I'll be trying to do much more content recently. Got a lot of things being planned, including predictions for the EFL playoffs, my personal reactions to people who have been promoted and relegated, with a bit of information about that, and also my end of season reactions to see if I got my predictions right. But goodbye for now.